everyone. I am Todd Raffel with ERE Media, and I am here with Alan Fluhrer from Fluhrer and Bridges search firm in Pasadena, California. We're actually, his search firm is in Pasadena. We are actually here at a Bob's Big Boy in Burbank, California. So welcome, Alan.
Thank you.
We have been talking here at the Bob's Big Boy about the ERE Recruiting Excellence Awards. Alan was one of the judges for the awards, and we just wrapped up the judging and announced the finalists, and the winners will be announced at ERE's conference in March in San Diego. And we've been talking just our feelings about some of the categories, and by the way, this was one of the best years, if not the best ever, for applications for the awards in terms of the quality of them, which was really interesting because I was quite nervous because it was such a down year last year, and if you're laying people off and if you're freezing salaries and freezing hiring, do you really want to apply for a recruiting award? But we had great applications, and you had some interesting thoughts on the referral category.
On the employee referral program, what was real impressive is that some of the entrants were thinking outside of the box and doing things that, while it's kind of tough to be revolutionary, they were almost really evolutionary. One that struck me was one of the entrants is giving referral fees to ex-employees who refer employees in. That seemed to be a small thing that could have huge benefits. And another one that was real interesting is, if I'm remembering correctly, you are given a card. Every employee gets a card on how to refer somebody, and one of the recruiting directors, managers, HR people can walk around and ask an employee, hey, I'm so-and-so, can you show me your card? If they have it on them and they do carry it with them, they get a gift certificate as a prize for carrying it around. And a lot of the referral programs overall were very good.
And speaking of ex-employees, one of the things that really stuck out with me was the college recruiting category, which is really one of the toughest categories. There's a lot of competition in that category. And what was interesting in the finalists in that category are EY and Rosetta. And what's so interesting is Rosetta has, I think, 715 employees or something like that in Cleveland and Boston and New York. And I mean, here's a company with 715 employees, something like that, that was able to beat out so many big companies that were in that college recruiting category. One of the things they were doing that was interesting is really getting, I think they have 125, as I recall, ex-employees involved in their college recruiting, alumni involved in college recruiting at Rosetta, which is pretty interesting. 125, you only have 700 employees total, so we're talking about one out of every, I don't know, 5 or 6 employees. That's like having a 100,000 company having tens of thousands of employees, ex-employees involved in their college recruiting, so I thought that was interesting.
It was in the other categories as well, where you saw smaller companies stepping up and really broadening the use of not only technology, college, referrals, and other items and other subject matter, where they were competing they were competing with the Microsofts and the IBMs in the quality of their websites, their technologies, their thinking processes, and it was really refreshing to see a smaller company doing everything they could to be able to attract people, be able to work with the technology, and be able to have a really robust program across the board.
One of the other categories that Alan and I have been talking about was the employer brand category, where we had a lot of great applications. One of the things I noticed among the applications that didn't win was that a lot of the brand applications focused on visuals. You know, we redesigned our visuals and we changed our brand meaning our logo. And a brand, for the most part, isn't really a logo. For example, Denny's, since we're a big boy, I thought of Denny's. Denny's has, you know, a great example of a consumer brand turnaround. Their consumer brand was completely a mess with the discrimination stuff several years ago, and they were able to turn it around. But they didn't turn it around through a logo design. They turned it around through a lot of things they did to improve their workplace and their way they treat customers and everything else. And whether they changed their logo or not, I don't even remember. It wasn't important. So I think some of the brand applicants were focusing a little too much on the visual in that category.
And in some of the other areas, that was also obvious to see where they could have, some of the entrants focused on the people, some focused on the technology, And perhaps some of the finalists actually focused on both, where they might say, some would make a comment, well, we did this with our technology and our website and our applicant tracking system, and other people would say, we did this with our people and this with our employees, which was very good. And then the finalists, or some that were very impressive, said, well, here's what we did with our technology, our applicant tracking system, and here's what we did with our people to integrate both to make it an entire story.
Do you have any other thoughts on anything that you learned from the awards or any of the applications through the judging process? And certainly we can do this again sometime, by the way.
That would be great. One of the things that I did learn is I was very impressed with the overall quality of the entrance. The thing that I've noticed is both the big companies and the small, they all stepped up. They were all looking at, from a technology standpoint, they were looking at multiple prongs. They were looking at YouTube, Twitter, LinkedIn, and some other things that you really might not consider. On the people side, there was a much bigger appreciation of people and situations. I think that all of the entrants really stepped up, and recruiting is, and also the companies in themselves need to be commended for recognizing the importance of recruiting and how it's going to be even more important moving forward.
Thanks, Alan. I appreciate it.
Love to be.